everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Rush Hour. I'm your host, Ryan Rush, and tonight I am going to be talking about haunted forests. Okay, haunted forests. Now, those are some really crazy places. The thing that really gets me about a haunted forest is the fact that, okay, in a house, all right, per se, like say a haunted house, you can get the hell out of there. Okay, like a haunted forest, you're in an open area. Okay, it's not something that's just like haunting a certain spot, like a certain place. Something that's contained. You're in a forest. You're out there. I mean, that's the thing that gets me about haunted forests, particularly. Um, the another thing that I want to talk about in relation to haunted forests is this is something really cool. Okay, now I've heard of this um, from not I don't want to say like from. Uh, uh, let me okay, let me start that over. Okay, I've heard stories of um, things in the forest, like in old Appalachia, like the old tales of stuff. And I actually heard, the first time I actually heard about this was on the Appalachian Trail. And somebody I'd run into was talking about it. And they were talking about the story. And it was really neat. It really caught my attention because they were saying, talking about trees that moved, that actually got up out of the ground, uprooted themselves, and moved, like walked or whatever over to a different spot and went back into the ground. But they had like faces and everything, and like uh, like more humanoid characteristics, I don't know. It's just crazy. Uh, the first time I'd heard that kind of stuff, I was like, man, I mean, it was really cool to me. So I started, researching it a little bit, a while back, and I found out that they call them like tree ents. I think ENT is the word. And anyway, like a tree ent is it's not necessarily a tree. It's I think they say it's more like a spiritual type being. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of lore that surrounds that subject right there, and it's really actually difficult to find certain instances that relate to anything to do with that. You don't really find eyewitness accounts of this, and if you do, they're very few, very, very few. But I happened to run across someone who has seen this with their own eyes, and um, I believe them completely because the way that they describe this and the fear of ridicule and you know in response to what they have seen has it's really kept um, and I'm sure there's other people who have had these experiences and it's probably had the same effect. It's probably kept them from also sharing their experiences with other people because it's crazy, man. It's crazy to tell someone that you've actually seen a tree get up, move to a different place, and sit its ass back down. That's crazy. Okay. But just because it's crazy does not mean that you need to dismiss it as possible. And if there are accounts of it, it probably has happened. I mean, the one thing I've learned through dealing with all this stuff is that usually if there's some kind of account, some witness account, it's because someone really did witness it. Lies and tales and stuff, um, of certain things don't typically make it that far. They don't typically stick around as some form of like evidence or something, some form of proof or acknowledgement, I should say, that something like that's out there. You know, Lies are going to be told, stories are going to be made up about things, and of course there are stories about things like that, but there are also real life accounts, and that's one thing that uh, I just can't believe that I've actually found is somebody who had actually seen this. This it blew my mind, and damn man, the way they describe it, it's so cool because you can tell they really saw this, and they don't. They're not trying to get any kind of fame or anything. They have no reason to make this up. They're not getting acknowledged here for it. They're not. There's no reason whatsoever for them to make this up. But basically, what we've got here, and I'm looking at the email right now. Okay, I'm trying to find. Bear with me a second. I'm trying to find where this person sent me the story. Here we go. Okay. There was more than one. That's it. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. Here we go. I'll just give you guys a rundown. Sorry for the little moment of silence there. I had to get this stuff pulled up. I had actually a different email pulled up. I think I was gonna talk about this later, but for some reason, man, I just really had to jump into this because I'm just amazed that I actually have talked to somebody who's seen something like this, and uh, from what they said, from how they word everything and stuff, you can tell they saw this, and they're not the only person who was there that saw this. That's another thing. There's another witness too, and it wasn't just one that they saw; it was two. Well, they each saw a different one. That's what was weird. Um, anyway, let's see. It was an August evening. Beautiful, mild temperatures, no wind, very calm. Um, they were at an apartment building where near the University of Maryland. Okay, that's where this took place, near there. Um, I'm trying to get to the parts where I can describe this stuff to you. Okay, so they were sitting out on a balcony. Okay, and they both looked at each other. They were talking, and then at the same time, they were like, "What?" And they quickly looked at each other, eyes extremely wide, shaking their heads, or well, she said her friend was shaking her head no, and the uh, the person was shaking her head yes. So they acknowledged that they saw this, and they were afraid to actually tell each other what they saw. That's one other thing. So, okay, you both sit there and see something, and then you're afraid to tell each other what you saw, even though you both looked right at the same things. That's another interesting thing right there. That shows a lot of you know, when you can't believe what you're seeing, that's kind of how you react. Uh, I have reacted that way before. I'm sure other people can relate as well. Okay. Anyway, they were afraid to say what they saw out loud. And let's see, she said she didn't want to. Okay. This person wrote a very detailed email, and I don't want to share too much because I don't want any, you know, crazy backlash on anybody or anything like that. Okay. And this is a kind of a rare thing to talk about. Um, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really trying to make sure. Okay. So it was like an evergreen type tree. Okay. The like a Christmas tree type. And that's something else that was neat to me. Okay. That it was that kind of tree. And it looked, they had faces. That's another thing. Okay. One of them, the one that her friend saw, she pointed to the tree and she said it was further back and it had like a nicer looking face. Okay. Not scary. The one that this person saw had an evil face, is what she said. Okay, the eyes looked right at her. Okay, and she said it was like an evergreen type tree. Okay, eyes were very distinctive. She said they were kind of bushy, like eyebrows, like an old man unkept, but wing tipped, like cat eye glasses. That's how she described it, kind of like a wingtip, I guess. So that's interesting right there because okay, I would wonder if this is like the bark formation or what's making it look like that. Is there actual hair on it? And I don't think there'd be hair. That'd be insane. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So crazy bushy eyebrows and stuff, cat eye glasses. She said symmetrical eyes, okay, with dark black circles in the middle, all right, placed like ours, but didn't look like ours, and definitely had a frown. So, that was like okay. To me, I get the idea in my head of like the depiction of these types of trees from like storybooks and stuff from way back when I was a kid. I would see stuff like this in books randomly. I'm sure other people have too. But anyway, like I can kind of visualize in my head what this looks like. And I can tell you this, man, if I saw this, I don't know what I'd think. I mean, this is nuts, but it's really cool. And I don't think this person is making this up. This is far too detailed. Okay. I mean, way too detailed. If they are, they need to be writing books. Okay. And self publishing. All right. The top of the tree was not pointy. Okay. It was more of a blunt top, like not all the way flat, but it was bushy, not pointy. Okay, so not like a typical Christmas tree, evergreen looking tree. All right, the body was kind of stout. Didn't really see arms as it stood still. When it moved, it had more detail. I didn't see the bottom of it as I was high above, but the way it bent over, like we do when we hop, it was the same motion. That's what made it so noticeable, and it was big. Okay, not as big as the other trees, and it blended in very well. The other trees had less details and blended better, but was still different with a face. I focused more on the closest one because it was staring straight at me. It gives me a chill now, texting this as I think about the details. That was alive, but not in the sense that all trees are. It was evil too. I'm not a fearful person, but this made me afraid. Wow. And okay, I have not visited my friend since, and probably never will again until she moves. I really don't blame this person at all. Okay, I mean, personally, actually, I probably would, but because I curiosity would get the best of me right there. I can tell you that. When it comes to a tree, seeing a tree move, dude, I'm all on it. I'm up on that. Like for real though. If anybody knows where I can go check this out, um, preferably closer than that, somewhere in my region, I will be there. I will be checking that out because I want to see this. I want to know if anybody else out there has seen this though. Like for real. If any of you guys have even heard of anybody that's seen this, please let me know. Send me an email to paranormalrushhour@gmail.com. And also send me some of your stories, your email, your experiences, such as this. And as soon as we get a pertinent topic, I will share it on up for you guys. Anyway, this though is I'm not done because this is really really cool, and I don't know, man. I remember when I read this, I was just like captivated by it because it's such a detailed account. But she said her friend will only speak with her about it and is constantly trying to rationalize it. She won't mention it to others, and her boyfriend, who was inside at the time this happened, doesn't believe us. She's afraid of losing her job because it sounds crazy and refuses to say anything. See, that's another thing. I mean, that's the thing right there, man. The ridicule. Okay, the ridicule. I mean, if any of you guys have anything to say, if you want your stories to be told, I mean, sometimes it just feels good to get things out, to get it out there, to talk about it, say it, whatever, because crazy things, man, they can sit there and just fester in your mind, and you think about them all the time, and then you end up doing things like watching some dude sitting here talking to a camera. I mean, that's the thing, though. If you want to get if you want your stories heard, I will be so glad to share them. If you want them told, I will be more than happy to. I'm sorry, I was hearing something funky in my mind. Okay, let's see here. I mean, but that's crazy. She's afraid of backlash from her employers. I mean, just to talk about this. You don't have to, like, don't. I won't share your name unless you absolutely want me to. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not trying to like bring anybody any rain in anybody's backyard, but I just if you want somebody to hear what you have experienced, let me know, please, and I will share it for you. And no one will ever know unless you want them to. Okay. Tell me if you want me to share your name, and I'll be glad to. Otherwise, but I'm gonna pretty soon have we're gonna be going live. I'm gonna try to do once a week is what I'd really like to do. I want to go live, and we're gonna do like a phone line, where you guys can call in and share your experiences and your stories and tell me all about what you know and what you've seen and all that and experienced. And it should be fun. I'm looking forward to that, actually. I'm going to be doing that with guests also. Sometimes I will have some guests on and go live, and you guys can talk to them as well and ask them questions and things like that. And I'm trying to make it interactive as I can. And but I can't always do the live thing at the moment. So anyway, I'm just gonna do the best I can, and if that ain't good enough, no. But I really do. Hang on, want to take a minute and tell you guys how much I appreciate the support that I've gotten so far. It's unreal because I couldn't believe that I actually had subscribers before I even had content up. And that blew my mind. That just shows right there that I've got the best viewers, the best subscribers. You guys are the best because that is support. That shows me support right there. And I appreciate it so much. And all of you who have subscribed since then, it's the same thing. It shows me support. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. It makes me feel good, and it inspires me to keep doing this and to keep doing things that I've done on my other channel for years. That's the thing. It's motivation. It keeps me going when things get tough and things get crazy, and sometimes you feel like giving up, and it's a pain in the ass to do all this and all that and blah blah blah. But when I sit back and think, that there are people that actually care to see it, and I'm not doing it for nothing. It really drives me a little bit more to put forth the effort, when I don't feel like it, and that's more than you can get from a lot of things. So I really appreciate it, everybody, and I'm gonna work my best to bring you guys good quality podcast. All right, back to the tree story. Now, let me make sure. We may not be back to it because that may have been it. Let me make sure. Okay. Yeah. That's just crazy though. Our friend. With all that, my dogs are barking. Why? Why did I have to do that? This is just an extremely nice person, though. That was it. And they also have another really cool, what sounds like a really cool dogman experience. And that's another thing, it's why are certain people prone to seeing this stuff? Okay, why is that? Some people, I guess, just don't have as much of a veil over them, maybe. I don't know, but it's a fact. Some people are more prone to it than others, and it's proof right there. I don't know. Let's talk about some haunted forests, though. We got a bunch of forests actually that are haunted. I think I had, yeah, another notepad. Oops, another notepad down here. Here we go. That I'd written some more stuff on at one time. Anyway, I've got to write notes. I've always been like that. If I don't have an outline of some sort, I will lose my way. It's just how I am. So it's a pain in the ass sometimes, but got to do what you got to do to make it. Fake it till you make it. That's always been my motto right there. I'm still waiting to make it. Been faking it a long time. Okay. Most haunted forests in the world. Okay. Now, there are two that everybody knows. Well, not everybody, but if you know anything about haunted forests and haunted places, you probably do know a little bit about these. We'll get to those two in a minute. The ones I want to cover are a little lesser known, and it's interesting because there's a few. Okay, there's the Screaming Woods in Britain. Okay, now that is kind of cool because it's the Deering Woods is what it's called. And it's on the outskirts of Pluckery, which is Pluckley, I mean, which is it's the most haunted place in Britain, the most haunted village in Britain. Um, there's tons of stuff that's happened there, and anyway, it gets its name from the screaming drifters in the forest that walk around. It's actually people who got lost out there, who they say got lost in this fog that you can find in the forest, I guess. And they never returned, and I guess went crazy and never returned. And so they were forever damned to roam the forest, I guess, screaming. Yeah, nice place, sounds like. All right, then we got, okay, Britain has a lot of haunted woods, it seems like. That's one thing I noticed when I was looking at all this stuff. Britain is pretty haunted as far as forests go. Epping Forest in Britain, okay, is burial grounds for London murderers and murder victims. Okay, so you got the victims and the murderers, possibly the murderers who murdered the victims, or some of them anyway, um, in the same place, buried in the same place. Tell me that you're not going to have spiritual turmoil right there, like paranormal turmoil right there. That's the recipe for it, I would imagine. Like, like straight up, you're gonna have a bunch of shit going if that's the case. Why are you gonna do that anyway? Put them in the same place. I mean, that's just, it doesn't seem right. That's bad form. But that's old school crap right there for you. Old world BS. All right, check this out. Spirit of Dick Turpin is often the one um, apparition that is encountered in the deepest parts of the woods. He used to be a thief that operated out of the forest, and he would rob passersby. And I guess once he died, man, he was just like, you know, still hanging out in the forest, trying to rob people. Only he was not as physical as he once was, and probably had a little more difficult time doing that. Anyhow, let's get to the Freetown State Forest. Now, the Freetown State Forest is a cool place. It's like the most haunted forest in America. Okay, a lot of people have heard of this place. Um, the Freetown Forest has so much paranormal history, and it dates back from, I mean, back in the day, man. This place has been haunted a long time. Okay, now check this out though. The Wampanoag Indian tribe, cursed the forest. Okay, um, there was a chief, like a greedy chief or something, who had made a deal with the white man back in the day, and he was going to sell off the land. Okay, and he did not run it by the tribe, and it was not approved by anyone in the tribe, and he kind of did this shady deal behind their backs, and it pissed them off. So they cursed the land. And that's pretty much the beginning of all the other stuff with it. Okay, so this place is cursed. Okay, the tribe cursed the forest, and now you've got everything from cryptids to UFOs to spirits out there. One thing about this place is that it is very, it seriously, Why are they even hanging out outside my studio? Anyway, yeah, so you got the Freetown State Forest. Now, the thing about this place is that it is home to the Pukwudgies. The Pukwudgies, man, are like these little creatures who are like goblin-like looking things, and they really do. They look like the goblins from like Harry Potter. The goblin, the bankers, I guess. You know, the ones that you go to get your gold out. Those guys. They look like those in the pictures I've seen, the depictions I've seen of them. So anyway, you got these little Pukwudgies running around in this forest, and they're small little things that will evidently, or I wouldn't say evidently, but presumably they will tear you up. They're not cool. They're mean. They're bad, and they're little and have like mega claws and like fang teeth, and so they look wicked. I mean, they're not cool little things. I wouldn't want to encounter one of these things, like at all. And I've actually heard um, of someone who has claimed to have seen one of these. All he's got is his story and no real reason to lie about it. So I don't know, but it's interesting that I've actually talked to somebody who's claimed to have seen this. I don't know, man. The Black Forest in Germany, okay, that is a haunted place. That place, that's like the Brothers Grimm tales, you know, where most of them are set. You know, wizards, sorcerers, dwarves, demons, I mean, nymphs, you know, everything. Um, Marksmen, which are guided by the devil, you know, stuff like that. Those are the tales that you hear from the Black Forest in Germany. Um, Black Forest is it's one of those places, man, that you have heard of forever, you know, and it's I'm not sure, okay, how haunted a place that place is, because I want to say a lot of it is just fairy tales, because I haven't heard of any real crazy stuff happening in that forest. You know, it's not something that I would assume is that haunted, because all it is a bunch of lore surrounding it, a bunch of fairy tales. So who knows? I've never been there. Probably won't be going to the Black Forest. You know, the ones I was actually talking about though, Freetown. Uh, Freetown is, I mean, it's one of those places that has got so much stuff going on. It's not just like the little Pukwudgies that are said to be there and have their and be like indigenous to that place, like that's their home. There's like Thunderbird sightings in that place too. Thunderbirds, man, you know, like 20-foot wingspan kind of Thunderbirds, like pterodactyls flying around. What the man? I would like, you know, need a new pair of britches after seeing a Thunderbird. I can tell you that. But I have heard of a lot of sightings of those. It's not like a really uncommon cryptid to see. Let's see. The another thing about it though is the Freetown forest is President Reagan had a UFO sighting there. He saw it up on there's like a big like ledge where people have gone and committed suicide a lot. Kind of bad, but anyway, that's supposedly where he saw the lights in the sky that he couldn't explain. And you're talking about Ronald Reagan, who went public with this statement. To the best of my knowledge, he did. I hadn't looked that up, so don't quote me on it. But yeah, to the best of my knowledge, he did go public with that and admitted that he saw a UFO or something he couldn't explain in the sky. And he probably did. Um, anyway, a lot of cryptid sightings, though. Sasquatch, Dogman, all that stuff is reported there. Uh, anyway, there's another thing about that's crazy about that is the burial grounds, man. There's lost like native burial grounds all over the place. Okay, you don't know where they are, and that is probably one mega reason that it's haunted. You know, you don't mess with native burial grounds, but that's one thing, man, that I forgot about that. Okay, let's say you decide to go camping or something, man. You just put your tent up and you put your tent right on the grave of a you know, Indian squaw or something. I don't know what you call them, but yeah, I mean, you like pitch your tent on the grave of Chief Running Feather, and his spirit's gonna be pissed, pretty much. That's what I gather from that. That's probably why a lot of people report haunted paranormal activity there and stuff, and ghosts and things like that. I would imagine that probably has a lot to do with it because you're trampling around all over this sacred ground and people's graves and whatnot, and I mean, even though you have no idea, it's not like we're trying to. Still, they may not see it that way. I don't know, but anyway, um, for some reason though, this forest, man. Anyway, I mean, the history of it has also attracted, like, it's confirmed to, verified that there has been numerous satanic, like, uh, rituals and stuff done out there. It's like sacrifices and crap, especially back in the 80s, in the satanic panic of the 80s. This place was like just calling out to these people. And, well, of course, Massachusetts in general being having the history it does have. Anyway, that's where this is in case I didn't mention it. I think I did, though. I try to remember to mention locations. You just never know. But there's been activity in that place, I mean, since the late 1700s. So it's been going on a long time. Anyway, the two forests, though, that I was talking about in the world that are like some of the most haunted, the of course, the Akoigara. I'm probably not saying it right, but anyway, the suicide forest in Japan. That place, man, that place is probably really haunted. I mean, legitimately haunted. But there's one specific type of entity that lives there, residing spirit, or spirits, I should say, but they're called the Yurei, and which is like when a person dies suddenly and unnaturally, and like in a murder or a suicide or something like that, and their spirit is not at rest because of the way that they exited the world so abruptly. So they just wander around, um, tempting other people to, I guess, convert the ways of the Yuri. I don't know. But they say, that they like lure people into the forest to kill themselves and stuff. Like they'll make them get crazy. They'll like get in their head and start like driving them nuts. And who knows? I mean, it's possible. I don't know. But this place is crazy. I mean, okay, you got these people that come in there, and what they'll do is they'll tie strings on like trees, and then they'll go into the forest. They'll just pick a direction, I guess, random direction, and they'll take the string with them, and they'll put up their tent and sometimes kill themselves. And when they do that, they have the string tied over there to their tent so that someone can trace it back and find their body, which is just morbid and gnarly and not right. I don't know. That place is just crazy. Okay, it's crazy. Logan Paul. I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but I can't remember what year it was. I want to say maybe 2013 or somewhere around there. 14 something. Logan Paul, the YouTuber and has the podcast, went and posed with like a dead body there, like of someone who committed suicide, on his channel on video. And that's pretty much what got him famous, from what I understand. I don't really know. I didn't know who he was until recently, actually. It was a little bit before I started studying this. So, but I do remember that happening. You know, when it happened back then. Yeah. Anyway, the Hoya Baku Forest. That place is haunted. Let me start by saying it is the most haunted in the world, and I think it holds like the world record for it. Like actually, like Guinness actually gave them the world record gave it the world record title for the most haunted forest in the world. It's in Romania. Okay, it's 730 acres, and it's known as like the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. It's got uh, it's just crazy. It's okay. One of those places that they say, there's so much paranormal activity that happens there that they can't explain why it's like that. They think that it holds portals, that it's a gateway, that there's a certain energy about it or something that allows things to pass through there. It's like the gateway to other dimensions, which who knows, it might be. But man, the weirdest thing about this place, and this has always struck me as just insane, is there's this circle in the middle, like a cleared circle. Okay, and it's not cleared, it's just nothing grows there. Nothing at all, except grass and short grass. It's so weird. They say that there is no difference between that soil and the soil deep, on into the forest, in the other parts of it where things do grow. But even in the other parts where things do grow, they grow funky, man. These trees will be like shaped, like hooked, like all crazy. It's just nuts. They look so weird. And I'm like, there's got to be some reason that these things are looking like that they're just so crazy looking they're growing so crazy looking. There's some reason that they're doing it. It's not just the way that they are. There's not a species of tree that's doing that specifically. And it's almost like they grow uniformed too. It's like they'll be in a line, like all of them the same way. It's so weird. Spiraling growths and stuff too. That's just nuts. This place really is intriguing to me because of all this. Now, another thing about it is let me just give you a little history on it. Actually, it's kind of neat though. There's been numerous reports throughout history of people going into this forest and never returning. Okay, but then years and years later, their bodies will be found just randomly or something like that, or they won't be found at all, or they'll come back like and like they've never been gone. So it's weird, and years will have passed. Like one of the most well-known cases of that in this place was a 5-year-old girl who went in, and she was like playing in there, and she got lost, I think, and she actually like went in there, and uh, I'm losing my train of thought, man. It's getting late. She went in there and got lost and disappeared. Okay. She disappeared and came back 5 years later with her clothes like untattered. I mean, just looked perfect, not dirty, looked exactly like she did when she left, not aged a day. And it's weird, and this is documented fact that this happened. She showed back up. Where she goes, she has no where she went. She has no recollection of. She did not know she had been gone that long. She expressed that she thought she'd only been gone a few minutes. It just shows you how irrelevant time really is when you look at it. I mean, we just make time relevant by making clocks, you know? That's all there is to it, man. Otherwise, we wouldn't care about time. Time would be nothing to us. I mean, we wouldn't have any reason to measure it. We just live by the sun like they used to, and that's that. None of these slave bands, as a friend of mine used to call them. I always thought it was pretty funny. But back to the Hoya. This is neat though, because the way it got its name to begin with was kind of the same thing. There was a farmer back in the 1800s who went into the woods, okay, with 220 sheep. He was like a farmer shepherd kind of dude, and he went into the woods with like 220 sheep. Never came out. Him nor the sheep ever came out. He got lost, and they have never found any of the remains of the 220 sheep or that farmer. I mean, that was way back in the day, but they had never found anything. That's crazy right there. Um, for someone to disappear like that with 220 sheep, that's, I don't know. I don't know about that. You're talking about back in the day, too. So, anyway, they named the forest after the farmer who disappeared. So that's how it got its name to begin with. Anyway, they'd been offering large sums of money to anyone who goes in there and can traverse the forest through the forest with nothing but a compass and a map. Everyone who's attempted it went insane, and they've yet to have anyone claim the prize. So I think it may still be up for grabs, you know. But if you guys want to go and traverse the Hoya Baku and think you can do it and beat all the spirits, then have at it. Anyway, they say, you know, that the Hoya, though, is the most haunted place on the planet. And that goes for like structures, woods, you know, everything. They say that it's the most haunted. I don't know, but this was interesting to me because this kind of goes along the lines of stuff with Sasquatch too. Because okay, people report rashes. They report uh, like headaches, nausea, fatigue, like stuff like that, anxiety, feelings like that. Okay, when they go into the forest. All right, so be that as it may, that sounds a lot like the same thing that happens when you get around the Sasquatch and you get zapped, which sucks. Um, but it sounds like the same kind of thing. So why is that? What's going on there? Are there squatches out there that are doing that to people? I doubt it. I doubt that's the case, but I mean, who knows? It could be. So, anyway, let's see here. We got the Pine Barrens in New Jersey, going back to the United States. Red Forest, that's Ukraine. Huh. That's interesting too because, see, the Red Forest, they say, they call it that because they say radiation turned the pine trees red. Okay? Radiation turned the pine trees red in the Red Forest. Now, in the Hoya, they say that the reason that, well, one of the theories is that the reason nothing grows in that circle is because that's where UFOs have landed so much, and the radiation from the UFOs has caused the soil to be in infertile, I guess you could say. I don't know about that, but they've tested it, I think, and I can't remember actually what the tests were, but everything they tested seemed to come back normal. Like there wasn't anything crazy about it. So that leads me to believe that there really is some kind of supernatural thing going on, some kind of paranormal, supernatural thing going on, and I don't know. I don't. I can't even begin to speculate what that might be in a place like that. But there have been studies that were conducted that showed that it was actually a gateway to other dimensions. I mean, I don't know how they confirmed this, but they actually, from what I understand, had confirmed that it was a gateway. Is that not crazy? It's crazy to me. I don't know, but there's a lot of crazy places in the world, and forests are some of those that are just, I don't know. They're they're like a complete mystery to so many people to begin with. And then when you throw in paranormal aspects, that's just gets nuts. But Witch's Pond, Romania, that place is cool. That place is really neat. They can't figure out why it's there. Okay, there's no source, no water source, no spring, nothing. Never dries up. The water is just like, well, I've only seen it on videos, but one day I would love to go there. But the water is just still. I mean, it looks almost thick. It's weird. Okay, weird. Um, Animals won't drink out of it. They said animals would rather thirst to death than drink that water. They will not do it. I mean, it's weird, but there's a lot of stuff like lore that surrounds that. Like Dracula's head was chopped off and chunked in there or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Um, it's just it's a weird place. Um, they would like women who got pregnant and didn't want their baby or whatever would walk into the pond, and they say that it would cause their pregnancy to be terminated, just like walking into the water, and that's it. I don't know, but it's a neat looking place, and I watched a few videos on it, and it's one of those places I would really probably like to visit one day. Um, I don't know. There's been a lot of bad stuff happen or that's happened in that place too. So who knows? You got to be careful with that stuff. But it's still neat. Still an interesting place. You know, there's one more thing I want to share with you guys. I actually had a email from my uncle, and let's see here. Yep, my uncle Benjamin Rush. Okay, now the reason I'm going to share this with this episode is because this kind of reminds me of what would cause, what would be a reason for a forest to become haunted. This right here. Okay. Um, he starts by telling me there's a bridge that's actually not far from where I live, not that far from where I live. Same general area. Um, that him and some of his friends used to hang out with. Used to hang out at in college, and it was a known um, spot back in the day that was associated with lynchings. So it had like a tree that was like a lynching tree, I guess. And I've seen several of those. Uh, it's not cool. Like you you know that's what they were used for because people around the area, I guess, have always heard about what used to go down. So they'll tell you where it used to go down to. Anyway, there was always a feeling of being watched when they were there, and they went about once a week, and he said things started getting really weird. They started getting weirder, and he said he felt like they disturbed something. As one night, a pack of 4 dogs appeared out of the woods, and they approached them with their teeth bared and snarling. Okay, he said we tried to run them off, but they wouldn't relent. We threw rocks at them and even used some limbs to try to drive them away, but this night they were determined to run us off. He said we decided to leave, and he said he was trying to run them over to get out of there. That's how bad this was. Um, that's pretty bad. He said they were biting the tires and jumping up on the cars. He said it was very surreal, like something you'd see in a movie, I guess. That I can just imagine what that would look like, though. That's just crazy. I mean, just for that to randomly happen, dogs to come out of the woods like that randomly, nah, that's weird. But anyway, um, he said so they stayed away from there for a couple weeks, and then they went back. And he said there was no dogs, but he said it was just eerily silent in the forest. And he said they decided to go into the cemetery that was nearby, and he wanted to make sure I knew that he was aware that was a dumb move. Anyway, um, let's see. He said where one member of our group scraped their leg, I guess in the cemetery. He said we left upon returning to our dorm. He left, and upon returning to our dorms, we examined the scrape, and it looked like something with claws had scratched him. He said we treated the scratch, but it never fully healed until the end of the spring semester, and the person still had a scar from it the last he had heard. He said, now keep in mind this happened in October. That's crazy. That's really, really wicked. Okay. The following August or September, he said most of our original group was back at the bridge when they discovered the body of a prostitute. Wow. Scary thing is that she was still, oh man, she still had color, and so she had not been there that long. And he said they had been there a little while before finding her body. Man. And there's like articles on that, I'm sure. Um, I know exactly where it is he's talking about. I do. I know exactly where. And that is the kind of stuff right there that gives a place a haunted reputation and possibly causes it to be haunted. I mean, you got freaking dogs like that coming out of the woods. I need to ask him what kind of dogs they were, because it sounded like they were big dogs, just gnarly big dogs. That would freak me out right there. But Uncle Ben, I need to know, why in the hell did y'all go back after that? Anyway, speaking of dogs, I'm about to go and find mine new homes. Anyway, um, that was a pretty cool story though, right there. Really was. I got a story, and it's not really forest related, but this is weird. Okay, really weird. And I guess I'll leave us on this note right here. I don't even know how long I've gone been talking tonight, but anyway, it's late and I'm tired. But when I was younger, I was in Knoxville, Tennessee at my grandparents' house, and they had I don't want to say it was kind of like a field behind their house, really really big field, huge area. And but now, I mean, now it's completely different. It was they turned it into like a walkway and stuff like that. But before that, it was nothing, and nothing but a big field. And I mean, a few trees and stuff, but just really tall grass, mostly. But I was in their backyard, and I can't remember what, we were up to like 4th of July maybe or something like that. There were a lot of people there. I remember, family and stuff. And I was outside in their backyard, and there were trees that bordered the backyard that separated it from that field and stuff. And I saw something under a tree, and it was I cannot remember what kind of tree it was. I wish I could, but the branches were like um, fairly spaced out, and they grew out, probably 6 feet from the actual trunk of the tree, and they were up off the ground probably about 3 feet, and something was under that tree, and it looked like a almost like a little leprechaun or something. Like, it was so weird. I don't know what it was. And I saw it, and I remember, I was young too. I was probably like 7 or 8, and I remember going and telling people about it. Like, telling, I can't remember who I told about it, but somebody. And of course, of course, I was a 7, 8 year old who just saw something like that. That's what I was. But nonetheless, I still to this day don't know what that was. But I know I saw it clearly, and it was right in front of me. I know it was. Yeah, it was weird. I don't even know exactly what it looked like now, but it almost looked like animalistic type being. I don't know. It was weird. Maybe one day I'll have some like hypnosis and go back and see what it looked. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't messing with that. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna take off. I really appreciate everybody joining me, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. And if you didn't like this episode, there's bound to be one that you will. So hit subscribe and notifications so you'll know when I'm uploading, when I've uploaded my new shows. And I'll be back with you guys really soon with hopefully another interesting topic and maybe more interesting people than just my ugly mug sitting here. So anyway, thanks everybody. I hope everyone has a safe evening and great day tomorrow. And I'll be looking forward to coming back and talking you guys ears off again. So until next time, thanks for watching.